What's up, y'all, and welcome into the Jack Vita Show. I am your host, Jack Vita. Today, we're actually doing something fun today. We're going to talk about the new hit show, 99 to Beat on Fox. We have one of the stars from the show joining us today, and my high school classmate. We'll talk more about that later, but Nikki Kofkin, welcome to the program. It's great to see you
Thank you.
again.
Yeah, you too.
You were the last person eliminated. What
I
happened?
was. Yeah. Oh my gosh. What didn't happen? I think that's the bigger question. What a way to go. Yeah, so episode 5, it was a whirlwind. It was really long, grueling days of 10 to 15 hours filming. I had gotten sick at that point, so it was definitely a really, really hard day of back-to-back challenges, pushing the limits for myself. And I'm standing there, and in front of me is a hammer and a nail, and they come around and put boxing gloves on us, and turns out we had to hammer a nail into a wall wearing boxing gloves, and it was a disaster. And yeah, I just couldn't figure out how to do it. I couldn't get the nail into the wall quick enough either, because a lot of these challenges, they took an hour or more, and it's something you don't really realize when you're watching it, but it went by in 5 minutes probably. It was insane how quickly that challenge finished. And that really shocked me too, because it was really hard. I mean, I'm sure nobody has ever done that before. So yeah, I mean, I was so shocked. And another thing that was so different about that one too was having three walls of separation. So I couldn't even see really how close I was to getting eliminated. So it was, I mean, I could see it when I watched it back, and I still remember how shocked and like in horror I was that I had just been eliminated. So it was hard.
All right, all right, so back up. You were sick. How did you get sick?
Yeah, a couple people in the cast had caught a cold, and, you know, somebody who'd been eliminated was sick, and I remember going up and giving them a big hug. I was so sad, and a couple days later, there I was sick, and I was like, "Oh man, like of course I want to hug everybody that gets eliminated, but there was my downfall right there was, being
Shouldn't have
too
been so
nice."
compassionate.
Yeah, shouldn't have been so nice. Should have held out on
Need
those
to be a
hugs.
ruthless killer on these
Yeah,
shows.
seriously. So I was being so careful too. I wasn't going out, I was staying in my room, but just didn't work.
Did they let you guys go out? You had some free time. You could kind of go explore.
A little bit. So we were filming 6 days a week, 10 to 15
In the
hours a
UK,
day
correct, right?
in the UK. Yeah, outside of London, about an hour outside of London. And yeah, so we had, I believe it was Sundays off, if I remember correctly. But by Sunday, we'd been filming for 6 days, and they were long days. It was intense. And so on Sunday, we're already dead. We know Monday is coming around where we have to get up at 7 in the morning. So, you really tried to play it smart and not, waste your legs walking around exploring London. So I did go to London a couple times for an hour or two. But we really tried to play it smart and be conscious of the next day, where we really wanted to lock in and be completely ready for whatever was going to happen. So,
So how long is this filming process? You were out there for a few weeks, right?
yep. We were out there in total. Oh, I mean, from the day I got there to the day I left, it was probably about 2.5 weeks. I think the entire filming was probably around 3 weeks. But yeah, and it was nice because they did give us the opportunity to extend our stay if the flight was like the same price. So I got out on a Thursday, and I knew Sunday was the day off. It was Saturday or Sunday, I can't remember. But anyways, so I ended up being able to change my flight instead of the next day out to, I think, Monday. So that way I had like a couple more days. And then Sunday I had that day off where I could actually enjoy it and go out with friends. And and kind of give my final goodbyes.
So you were able to hang out with people who were still on the show,
Yes,
even
I
after you're
was.
eliminated.
Yes, which was really great. Being able to be there and support the people who, got out shortly after me the next day.
So that's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
how many of these challenges are you filming in a day?
It varied, but I would say between 2 and 4. It was less in the beginning when there were so many of us, and it took a lot of. It was definitely a lot more coordinating and longer days. And as it got less numbers, things got a little bit easier to coordinate. I mean, even the lunch line in the beginning, oh my gosh, it was unbelievable. We'd be trying to figure out how to get our food. That took almost an hour. So yeah, I think a lot of the length of time in the beginning was just coordinating 100 people for filming. So yeah, I definitely got a little bit easier as things started to dwindle.
And then did they have you, when it came to the outfits, they have you
Mm.
just keep wearing the same outfit every single day? Is that how that worked?
Yeah, so basically, you had to get your outfit approved by production. Um, Myself and Hadieh, she's my best friend, we went on there together. We actually didn't find out that we were cast on the show until like the day before filming was starting, pretty much, which was a complete whirlwind. We had about 3 hours notice to say yes, and just such a once in a lifetime thing. We had to do it. So thankfully, our schedules were flexible. Being in real estate, we could do it. And that, I bring that up because we asked, like, what do we wear? What do we need to bring? And at that point, we had no information on even what we had signed up for. Um, so, finally, when we're at the airport, they tell us what we're doing. It's a Fox production. It's called 99 to Beat. Here are your hosts. And that's when they tell us that, when we get there, we'll have to go shopping and find outfits to get approved. So yeah, I mean, our first day in the area was really just shopping, and they gave us a shopping credit. So we, just went around everywhere looking for things, and they gave us guidelines of what they were looking for, but it was very vague. And I found a few pretty quickly that I sent for approval, and mine was approved pretty fast. And it wasn't an outfit that I would normally wear, but I was comfortable. I felt like I'd be able to compete in it, and that was important to me. Hadieh had a lot more trouble getting an outfit. We were out all day looking for things, sending, ideas for approval. She ended up wearing something that she already brought with her, and she only had one of it, whereas I was able to buy 3 of my same outfit that they could then rotate and wash. But they kept telling her they didn't want leopard, this and that, and so she was so confused. So she didn't have anything day of filming, and she showed up, and they were like, "Oh, you know what? We like this leopard jumpsuit." So that was crazy. But yeah,
So then
so
she just
the
wore that same shirt or the same outfit every single day?
every single day,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah. So that was kind of hard. And there were multiple people who they were kind of in the same boat. They only had one of their outfit, but production liked it. So I don't exactly know how their laundry situation was going. I'm guessing on the weekends, or they did have an overnight speed wash. I think that was going on. So I was lucky that I had, 3 of my outfit, and I could just rotate and it was no problem. So
Crazy. That's really interesting.
yeah.
So you mentioned Hadieh, and you guys are best friends. And
Mm-hmm.
how did you guys become friends?
So, actually, we met 6 years ago on a showing. I had a listing, and she had a client, and they came to my showing. They were looking at the
Tell
place.
people what you do, by the way. Sorry, I left.
Real
I
estate,
forgot
yep,
to. Yes, there we
for
go.
sure. So we're both real estate brokers. And at that point, we didn't know each other. We were both, working independently, had never met. And I was showing this apartment to her and her clients, and I was just being my weird goofy self, and she really liked it and asked me out to coffee, and we just became fast friends, and we've been extremely close ever since. So now we both work together. I have a team, and she's on my team. And yeah, it's fantastic. We live 4 doors away from each other. We do everything together. We're pseudo roommates, as we like to say. But yeah, I mean, we're such opposites, but it just works so well. And you can kind of see that contrast even on TV. And just in day-to-day life, like normally I'm wearing like all black all the time, and she's in patterns and colors, and it's just kind of like us in a nutshell.
So then how did you two get cast on this show?
Yeah, so it was so funny. A friend of mine actually knew a friend of a friend in production. They were looking for duos. And so we ended up, getting connected, and we did our video interview. And I'm guessing they liked that kind of, contrast of me and Hadieh being like complete opposites. And we played really well off of each other, as we always do. I mean, it's just kind of naturally, how we are. So yeah, after that video interview, we filled out all kinds of paperwork. But like I said, originally about 3 weeks before filming was supposed to start, we were denied and told, we didn't get on the show, but they would keep us in mind for future opportunities. So that was totally disappointing, but we were just like so excited and shocked when they came back to us a few weeks later. So.
Well, that's really interesting because they didn't even tell you like, hey, be ready just in case, you
Right.
never know. They were just,
And
you're like, you're out.
yeah, yeah. And it was funny because Hadieh said, you never know, like it happens a lot. They could come back to us. And I was like, nah, they won't do that. There's no way. So I kept planning my life. I put it out of my mind, but and Hadieh was like, no, I mean, it's very possible they could come back to us. And she was right. So should have trusted her.
Wow. And how much reality TV competition shows, game shows had the two of you watched before this?
Oh, watched a lot. Yeah. I mean, I'm a huge Survivor fan. We both watch reality TV together a lot. And we'll, pretend that we're on it, like Amazing Race. We'll pretend, we'll pause it and talk to each other. And we told them this too in our interview, we'd always pause and like pretend, okay, so if this was our pit stop, what would we do? How would we approach this? So we've always loved game shows, and Hadieh has been like a huge game show person, and it was her dream. So I was just so excited. I was absolutely there to compete and to win. And it just felt like life or death when you're there. Like that's your whole life in that moment. So, um, you know, it's maybe not as apparent on TV, but it was such an emotional roller coaster during those challenges. And, just, it was crazy. When people get eliminated, that emotion is completely real. And that stress it's unbelievable, leading up to a challenge while you're in it. Like the thought of going home is just awful.
What has this experience been like for you? Just, I mean, these past 5 weeks, getting to watch yourself on TV.
Yeah, it's been really crazy. I mean, it's almost surreal. Like, it's interesting because there's so many people that, it's just like a glimpse here or a glimpse there, but it's always really exciting when I catch a glimpse of myself and I'm like, oh my gosh, there I am. Like, that's me. But it's just so funny, because I've actually seen other friends, one in particular. I know someone else that we know went on The Amazing Race, and I remember seeing him and being like, "Oh my God, I know him! That's so crazy!" But then I see myself, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's me. That's kind of cool." So it's interesting, like, it doesn't feel as crazy now that I've done that, but whenever I see somebody else that I know, I'm like, oh my God, that's insane. So
That's so funny because, so Nikki and I went to high school together and didn't know you extremely well in high school, but
right.
we've just kind of known each other for over the years, been connected on social media and things like that.
Yeah.
And Danni obviously is a good friend of mine. She's been on this program a bunch. And like, I'm watching Danni and I'm obviously pumped to watch Danni, but it's also
Yeah.
like, I've seen Danni. I've always known Danni as Survivor Danni.
Yeah.
And like, then I see when, I don't know, it was sometime before the season, I saw that you were in the cast. It was probably on your Facebook or,
Yep.
honestly, it may have been from like Danni reposting something or something like that. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, Nikki Kofkin's on this show. What? This is crazy. So I have the
Yeah.
same reaction as you do, where it's like
Yeah.
somebody that you know, and you're watching them on TV, and you're just like, this is insane.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It feels so, for some reason, it's weird. It just feels so much different when it's somebody else than myself. Like, I do think it's really cool. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's me. That's so exciting. But it doesn't feel as like wild. I don't know why, but
Yeah,
then I see someone else that I know and I'm like, whoa, that's so crazy. So,
I totally know how you feel. Like I totally
yeah.
get that. Because it's sort of like you were there to experience it, and
Yeah,
now people are.
exactly.
So it's like less crazy because it's like
Yeah,
you lived
I was
through it,
there.
and now
Yeah,
yeah, and now
exactly.
other people are getting to experience it.
Yes.
So for them,
Yeah.
it's crazy, but it's not crazy for you. But
Yeah,
then it's still
exactly.
crazy when it's someone else that's on TV.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
funny. So, have you gotten many people reach out that either went to high school with, or that you went to college with, or maybe you worked with
Yeah.
before, who are like, "Hey, what the heck? You're on TV."
Yes, so many. And it's so fun, especially when I was watching the first episode. It was so fun. I had so many people texting me while I'm watching it. So it was just really exciting. That was probably just watching that first episode. I was like completely elated, just so happy to finally be able to watch it back and like kind of relive it. And it was so fun just being able to chat with people. And I love being able to tell people kind of the behind the scenes stuff that, you know, you won't be able to know on television, all the hard work that went into it, all the, oh, there's my dog, honey.
Oh,
Just all the other things that never make TV, and just kind of the behind the scenes. It's really fun to be able to watch with somebody be like, oh, well, actually what happened right here, blah, 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 blah. So that's really fun to have that like insider knowledge of what actually went on. But yeah, I haven't even posted that I was eliminated yet on Instagram because I know or on social media at all. Because I have had a lot of friends who are watching it and are catching up, and I don't necessarily want to spoil it yet, but I think
yeah,
this week I am going to finally post about it and be like, here's what happened.
yeah, yeah. It's the
Yeah.
modern TV landscape that we're in right now, where
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not watching these episodes live. I mean, I'm
Right.
also on Pacific time right now. So I come
Mhm.
home from the ballpark, and I put it on at like 9 o'clock local
Yeah.
time, which is 11 o'clock central time.
Yeah,
So
that's tough.
yeah.
Exactly.
And then
Yeah, so
sometimes you can't do that. You have to watch it later.
yeah, exactly. Like my next door neighbor, for example, they have three kids, and I was talking to her this week outside, and I was like, "Did you watch episode 5?" And she was like, "No, we haven't yet." And I was like, "Okay, I won't say anything, but it's a good one." So I'm waiting for a few people to catch up before I post about it, and they're all like, "Oh," so yeah. But it's funny because I've
um,
had people message me, and they're like, "You won, didn't you?" And I'm like, I don't know, keep watching. And then they watch episode 5 and they're like, no.
oh no. Oh
Yeah.
no. So are they thinking that they're waiting to show people, like they're showing more people when they get eliminated. They introduce people in the episode a lot of times, and then
Yeah.
they go
It
out. So they're thinking like, well, Nikki hasn't gotten too much camera time yet, so it'll come
yeah.
later.
Yeah, it definitely seems like, I got some more airtime, but it's hard to tell at first, like, is it because there's less people or what? But then yeah, at the end it was my elimination. Um but yeah, I mean, it was really exciting that I did get a lot more airtime in episode 5 regardless. So, and I have to be honest, I've thought a lot about it, and of course, you can't stop thinking about the what ifs, and that's for everybody. I mean, I've talked to everybody in the cast, and no one can stop thinking, what if I have done this differently? And I never even tried a different method when I was doing the one that got me eliminated with the nail. So I think I was just sick and I just couldn't re-strategize or anything. But it's hard not to go what if. um but at the same time, I think it was a hard challenge. I think it was pretty obvious that, it wasn't necessarily something too easy. And I'm happy it wasn't something that I felt like was easier per se, or a team challenge. I was kind of in charge of my own destiny on
Yeah.
that one. Um, And it was the last challenge of an episode, so I finish off the episode, and I'm really happy about that. So
Yeah,
good way to go.
that's a really yeah, that is a good way to go. That's a really
Yeah.
good outlook. You are the star of the last
Yes.
episode.
Yes. Everybody remembers me.
Yeah.
So, and my crying on national television.
What was that like, seeing yourself crying on TV?
Oh, you know, I mean, obviously I felt sad because those emotions were totally real. I mean, I'm a very emotional person. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I feel everything. And it was interesting. I up until that point, I hadn't shed a single tear. I don't know if I was just numb because of how much of a roller coaster it was. I mean, you're just up and down all day, so excited, so nervous, so sad because people are being eliminated. And so it's just a complete roller coaster. And I think it was just like when it finally happened to me, it was just the floodgates open and I was just devastated. So, but I'm not somebody to just hold back my tears. And, if I'm going to cry, I'm going to cry, even if it's on TV. So, yeah, it is what it is.
You
Yeah.
mentioned having some insider knowledge into some of these competitions. 'Cause
Yeah.
here's the thing: like people see the show, and it's 100 different people's stories, and
Mm-hmm.
they have to condense that into 40 minutes every single week, and it's a
Yeah.
collaboration of all of these people's stories, and there's so much that we do not see. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, what are some interesting things that we did not get to see over these past several weeks
Yeah.
that you were maybe surprised they didn't show?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't even know if it's necessarily surprised they didn't show it, but I think to me it's so interesting knowing how the show works behind the scenes that it's something you would never know unless you were there. The fact that they had like a whole team of referees, which you do kind of see on television, but I don't know if you necessarily notice it. Like there was an actual committee from Fox, a fairness committee. They were there reading the rules before every game, and we'd have a chance to ask questions and get clarification, and that is never shown. So they took it really seriously, and so did we as cast members. Like this was a real sports competition to all of us,
Yeah.
even though these games looked so silly. Um, so that was one thing. And then they never show these kinds of things on television, or at least in our show. But there were a lot of times where if there was an issue, they would stop filming. So in the middle of a game, for example, with the water bucket challenge, two of those buckets cracked open and like basically exploded,
Wow.
because people were shaking them, trying to get that ball to the top, and they cracked. And it was two people neck and neck. Both of them cracked, and we had to stop for 30, 45 minutes. And they would just yell over the loudspeaker, like, stop, 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 whenever there was an issue, which also became a joke between the whole cast. We'd always just be yelling, stop, stop, stop. But yeah, so it's really crazy when those things happen and you're just kind of waiting. They would reset, but it's seamless on television. You'd never know that those things break, and stuff like that was happening. Or people, you kind of see a glimpse of when people are having like an issue physically on television. There were times where you know we had like a word pineapple. It was really funny. But if you were having like a physical issue, you would yell that, and filming would stop. And they had medics on set. So some of those things are not shown where it really is intense, and filming does even need to be stopped sometimes to take care of, filming issues or medical issues. So
What was maybe the most physically demanding or intensive competition up to this point?
for me personally, it was the pants challenge with the ice block of pants. That one was really intense, and I think it didn't. Maybe I made it more intense than it had to be because I really was trying to finish as quickly as I could, knowing that you don't have to finish first, but I really wanted to prove to myself, how capable I was too. So I put everything into that. I put all of my pent up frustration or anger or whatever, and I channeled it into these pants. And so I'm just smashing these pants as hard as I possibly could on the floor. I ended up hurting my back from that challenge. So
Oh
even the
no.
next few days, like I'm sick, my back hurts. I'm taking like round the clock, like ibuprofen and Aleve, whatever I can get my hands on, just to like not be in pain even. So yeah, it was a rough few days after that one, but yeah, so I would say that was definitely one of the most intense. And then I think back to back, we had that challenge and also the tape in the lunchbox. That one I did very well on. I had a good strategy. It wasn't physically intense for me, but for so many people, it was so difficult to get that tape in that lunchbox. They're punching it, they're stomping on it. People had like bloody knuckles from like punching it so much. So it was hard to have those two challenges back to back, which were really, really physical.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting. Well, you mentioned
Yeah.
that you kind of got to. Was it at least a nice release when you were trying to melt that ice?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, if you're working so hard, it's nice to have something cold at least to kind of, keep your heat down a little bit. But yeah, it was
You
definitely,
had the pent up frustration, so I was wondering
yeah.
if that was a good outlet for that.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, I'm not somebody who's a angry person in general, but there's always a good time and place for it. And I think on those pants, that was a good place to let it out. So,
Yeah, I can relate to that when I play golf, and
hmm,
sometimes I'm maybe something's stressing me out or bothering me or frustrated,
right.
whatever. And when I just hit a drive like right on the screws and it's in the center of the fairway, it's like,
Hmm.
oh, that felt good. I just
Yes,
I hit that one as hard as I could. sometimes it
exactly.
sometimes I use that release and I hit it into the woods, but
Yeah.
it's the same
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So,
So, how long did it take them to set up these challenges in between? So,
mm,
you do a challenge, and then what do you do as they set up the next thing, and then when's it
yeah.
ready?
Yeah, so we kind of had a holding room. So after each challenge, they would, kind of release us. We'd go back to this holding room. Sometimes, that would be lunchtime where we'd eat our lunch. And then we'd have the game briefing. And it could take, an hour or so to set up a challenge. I mean, even for the boxing challenge, the one that I got out on, it took forever. They were clearly having issues with something. And I think they added that cork at the end where you had to get the nail into the cork, and I don't think there was cork originally. I don't
Oh,
know if that was
interesting.
in the plan. I think they kind of maybe came up with that. I don't know, that's my guess. But that one took forever to set up. They almost brought us in and then they took us back, and it was this back and forth of like, are we doing this now, are we not doing this now? So yeah, some of the challenges took a really, really long time. Another one that took forever was um, the fishing for ducks. They had to build that
Oh,
whole
yeah.
moat with water and test it, and there were some issues with it, and so it took forever to really like get those kinks out until it was finally ready for us. So yeah, a few of them really took a while.
That's really interesting. And then, was there a much of a disparity in terms of how much time the challenges took to complete? Like you mentioned that your last challenge was
Hmm.
only over in 5 minutes, and it was boom, boom, boom,
Yeah,
it was really quick. Some of
yeah.
those other ones look like they were maybe taking much longer than that. What was that
Yes,
like?
yeah, exactly. I mean, I think mine that I lost on might have been one of the fastest challenges that happened up to that point.
Dang. Ugh.
Which was again just so crazy knowing that
Yeah.
it really looks and was so difficult. I kudos to everybody who got that so quickly because to me I was like, how did that happen so fast? I don't understand. Um, but yeah, I mean, the team challenges really took a while, especially because there were multiple heats. So they'd have to reset. And we weren't, when, like, for example, I think I was in the first heat a lot. When we would finish, we'd have to go into another area and be away from the other heats. We weren't allowed to talk to them, give them any strategy, anything like that. And the the water bucket one was one of those that took forever again because of the broken container. So that was one of those like 15-hour days because it took so long to fix and reset and all of that, and there were three heats. So those team challenges really took a while. But yeah, I mean, there were a few individual challenges too that took forever, like over an hour. I can't remember which in particular, but I want to say that tape might have been one of those that took a really, really long time. Um, yeah, some of them they were really hard and took forever.
So, one thing that I wish we could see a little more of on the show is the social component, because I know that you
Mm,
guys got a chance to meet people from all kinds of different walks of life, different parts of the
yeah.
country. Did you make some really good friends through this process? Meet some new
Yeah.
people?
Yeah, absolutely. And I do wish they would show more of that too. I loved everybody. I mean, we still have a group chat with the entire cast, which is just amazing. And I became particularly close with the people who were standing next to me. So obviously, Hadieh was right next to me. And we were, I think, 3 and 4 in line. So we had a line from 1 to 100 of how we would come into the studio also. So we were like numbers 3 and 4, which was kind of fun to be like towards the front of the line. Um, and we became really close with the people that were standing next to us. So that was a lot of fun. I mean, between takes, we're just sitting there laughing all day. And it was really nice to just have that break from reality and just be giggling all day, cracking jokes, just having a great time, like doing our best British accent impressions and everything. So it was a lot of fun. And yeah, I love everyone. I mean, we've had, such a great time, like staying in touch. And we had a premiere party in New York, and about 50 people from the cast went there and were able to, see each other. And that was so nice to be able to catch up with everybody. So, yeah.
Yeah, I heard about that party. It looked
Hmm.
really fun. It was cool that they could get a bunch of you guys together because, I
Yeah.
mean, let's face it, it's hard to coordinate
Hmm.
stuff. It's hard for me to see members of my extended family and plan stuff
Right.
and see all kinds of people. So I'm really glad you got that experience. Do you have any plans to visit anybody from the cast or travel anywhere?
Ugh, I mean, potentially, me and Hadieh have talked about doing a little tour of our castmates and like going to visit
Yeah,
people. So that would be really fun. We have talked about potentially going to LA for the last episode, just because a lot of people are out there. And, we went to New York. Let's try the other coast for the last episode. So that could be really cool and a fun experience. So we'll see. We're hoping to pop around and visit a lot of friends. So.
So, Nikki, what was your favorite challenge that you got to
Mm.
do on this show?
Oh, favorite challenge. Okay, so my favorite challenge personally was the bowling challenge, the team challenge.
That
And
looks fun, yeah.
that was really fun, and it's mainly because I ended up being in charge of knocking down the last pin for my team. It wasn't chosen that way. It just kind of happened to be that way. We were rotating, and it just ended up that I was in that position for the last pin. Um, and I just held my little half pipe. I had the ball. I looked at that pin. I set it all up. And watching that ball hit that last pin and winning it for my team was a life highlight. Like I will never forget that moment and that feeling. So that was absolutely my favorite challenge. And watching that back on TV too was so exciting. I wish it was like 5 minutes long of like just me
Right.
doing that. I would like all the behind the scenes footage of just that moment, please, Fox, if you're listening. Because that was just, oh, it just felt so great. So that was my favorite challenge for sure.
Least favorite challenge.
I mean, boxing for sure, but besides the
Other than
boxing
boxing.
challenge, yeah, other than boxing, the other one that comes to mind like immediately is the spaghetti challenge. It was very
Oh,
early
yeah.
on in filming. I think it might have been the first episode, and I was still like really nervous and scared and just kind of like freaking out. And I think I was still it was still coming to terms with like, okay, you don't have to finish first, just don't be last. Like that's the
Yeah.
whole mantra. Um and I was having a really, really hard time with it. My pasta, like my spaghetti, whatever, kept breaking. Um and I remember just panicking. Like I felt like I was about to have a panic attack. And I couldn't like regulate my breathing. I was just like so overwhelmed with the thought of being eliminated in that challenge. Um, and after that, I don't remember feeling so stressed, even when I was closer to the bottom in the tape measure challenge, which you didn't really even see. But I think I was the closest to the bottom in that challenge of anything. But yeah, that spaghetti challenge really threw me for a loop. But yeah, I finally managed to pull through. So
What's been the most commonly asked question you've received from people in your life about this show?
yeah, I think the most commonly asked question is, was it all filmed in a day? And I think that's probably because we are in the same outfits through every episode. But really, that was for continuity so that you could tell who we are and you could find us easily and spot us. But yeah, no, I mean, it was filmed over, like I said, about 3 weeks. And there's absolutely no way we could do all of those challenges in a day. So yeah. Um, yeah, like I said, 2 to 4 challenges a day. But yeah, it definitely looks like it was all filmed in a day because of, how seamless. Like our hair had to be exactly the same every single day. Couldn't change anything, couldn't change your makeup. I think people made some small changes here and there, but for the most part, everyone had to look exactly the same.
Was it weird working with Mr. Chow from The Hangover and Aaron Andrews?
It was shocking. I mean, when we finally were told what the show was and who the hosts were, I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, this is a really big deal. Like, I mean, we really didn't know what we were signing up for. We were given very little information. And I think that was for a reason. They wanted people who were committed kind of no matter what the situation was. Um, so it was just really, really shocking when we found out who the hosts were, and I was really excited about that. Um, and you do see this on TV, but they told us going into it that it was for $100,000, which that was exciting. That was cool. And then when we get there, first day of filming, that's when they revealed to us that it was for $1 million, and we were absolutely blown away and completely shocked. Like that was we had absolutely no idea. So that was a really amazing and cool surprise too.
You have any good stories of Ken and Aaron, maybe off camera
Oh,
or
I
something?
mean,
Maybe something that just wasn't shown.
yeah, I mean, it's just they were so goofy and fun and silly. Even off camera, like they were just hilarious. And they're human. I mean, they had to do multiple takes for, when you see what they're saying on television, not when they're up in that stand per se, but when they're in the middle of the circle, some of that stuff took multiple takes, and we watched them do it a few times to get it right. And just like them, they'd shake it up, just like normal people, they would shake it off and try it again. And so it was cool, watching them do their thing too and get it right. And but yeah, they were really funny. And I really loved that Ken kept calling Chris his son. I thought that was absolutely hilarious. And I keep wondering how many people are going to think it's true. Spoiler, Chris is not Ken Jeong's son. But it's just so funny. And I think it's hilarious that there's probably a lot of people who think that's actually true. But they're both
Well,
it's funny because they're also both Asian comedians.
yeah.
And it's just great. I love it. So that's
Maybe you
funny.
can adopt them when this whole thing is over.
Yes, absolutely. That would be great.
They could tour together.
They should. Yeah.
It's not every day that I have a high school classmate of mine on this
Yeah.
program. So Nikki and I both graduated from New Trier High School in Winnetka, Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
2012. We're getting up there
Mm-hmm.
now, Nikki.
Yeah,
It's been
we
almost
are.
15 years.
Oof. God, don't remind me.
And sadly, there was no reunion for our class. Most
I
classes have one.
know.
10 years, no one planned one.
I know. It's such a bummer, too. I mean, COVID, had a really big part of that, I think. But yeah, what a bummer.
So when people that you've met, now granted, you're still in Chicago, so
Mm-hmm.
you do cross paths with quite a few people that know the area and things like that. But
Yeah.
if you're talking to anyone about your high school, what do
Mm-hmm.
you tell them? How do you describe New Trier to them? Because
Yeah.
we went to a really big high school. It was a really big
Yeah.
school.
Yeah. It's funny because first I just say where I grew up and then say my school. And I wait to see if they have any preconceived notions before I go into it at all. Um, so I kind of like to see people's raw reactions before I like say anything about it. But of course, you always get the jokes like, "Oh, New Trier," like, "Oh." So yeah, I always think that's really funny, and people always have their opinions of it being so big and I don't know, bougie and whatever the fact, but but yeah, if people don't know it, then I'm like, okay, cool. So you don't have any opinions about me coming into this already. Because I think people sometimes will make an opinion about you just because of the school you went to
Okay.
or where you grew up. And I don't think that's totally fair, so um and like I know a lot of people say like Mean Girls was based on New Trier or
Yeah.
whatever, and that's a fact I'll get from people. Oh yeah, wasn't Mean Girls
Yep.
based on
Yeah.
New Trier or whatever? And but yeah, I think it's funny, but
I think so. We went to the
yeah.
high school that inspired Mean Girls, North Shore High School. The area
Mhm.
is commonly referred to as the North Shore of Chicago.
Mhm.
There are all kinds of Easter eggs in that movie to our area. Walker Brothers
Yes.
Pancake House, Old
Old
Orchard Shopping
Orchard.
Mall.
Yep.
You
Mhm.
Go Glen Coco is a reference to
Yep.
the town of Glencoe that feeds into our high school. Um,
Mhm.
and then I had a friend visit, and we were kind of driving around Winnetka, and I grew up in Wilmette. Where were you? Where did you go to junior high?
I went to Marie Murphy, so it was
Okay,
Winnetka schools, but I grew up on the border of Wilmette and Glenview, so technically Glenview, but I just say Wilmette because it's just easier.
right, yeah. So I was driving my friend around, and he describes it to people as cinematic suburbia.
Oh my
It
God, that's really funny.
Yeah,
Well, and
because
it
he's
makes
like
sense. Yeah.
Home Alone house,
Right, right.
all those John Hughes movies, Ferris Bueller's
All of
Day
them.
Off, a little
Yep.
north of us, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a really cool area to come from, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I love all of John Hughes movies. Like they're just so great and they just feel so nostalgic too. So, and it's nice that they all kind of took place where we grew up. So,
What are some of the funny things that you may have told people about our high school, about our area?
oh, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind are some of the senior pranks that I've heard over the years.
Yeah.
I'll mention some of those. Like some kids I've heard put a cow on the roof of New Trier and it had to be like helicoptered off. And I'm like, who does that? That's crazy. So I like to tell people some of the crazy pranks that I've heard that went on over the years. But I also like to like tell people like I didn't even appreciate it for what it was at the time, and now I look back and I'm like,
Yeah.
man, we had it really good.
Yeah.
Like
We
the amount
really
of
did.
programs that we had available to us and growing up so close to a lake that like feels like an ocean.
Yeah.
Um, so it's just kind of I look back and I'm just like, yeah, I feel really lucky. That's for sure.
I I sometimes tell stories to people, and sometimes I relive things because I'll drive Uber in the suburbs and I'll be
Mhm.
driving active Nutrier kids. So a lot of stuff
Mhm.
is kind of fresh in my memory, and I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, that really happened. So like one of the weirdest things that happened was I think our junior and senior year. There was some kid who no longer went to New Trier who made like the
Mhm.
top 100 hottest girls list. Was it top 50 or top 100? And like put him in the boys' locker room. And then they were
Oh my
like
God.
dispensed around the school. And it was just kind of like chaotic that
Oh
day.
my God. I don't remember that
You don't
at
remember that
all.
day?
No. That's crazy. Yeah, interesting.
we
Hmm.
we had like for our graduation, like the boys wore white tuxedos and the girls wore
Mhm.
white dresses.
Yep,
We
yep. Felt like a wedding, that's for sure.
Though we got some really good pictures on that day. That was like,
Yeah. And our school hosted that amazing party like at New Trier too until
yes.
like 3, 4 in the morning or something,
Yeah,
which
so
was
like there's a
wild.
graduation party at the school. And we
Mhm.
had what, 1200 in our graduating class?
Something like that. I was
Yeah.
sitting front row at graduation actually for whatever reason. I think I don't know why. Still don't know why. But but yeah, it was interesting because I really got to see every single person walk across that stage, and I thought I knew a lot of people, and I was just shocked at the amount of people that I had
Yeah.
never seen in my life. I was like, okay.
Yeah,
So
I
that was
had the
pretty
same
crazy.
feeling. It was like it was so funny because it was like, oh yeah, like there were so many kids that
Yeah.
I had never seen before. And I think what it ultimately came down to was like what level were you in? Like we had different levels
Oh,
for
that's true.
classrooms. So
Mm-hmm.
like there was like, and it's funny because I was in the lower level classes and I felt like I
Mm-hmm.
was a total dum dum. And then I get to college and I'm like, wow, this was like way, high school is way harder than these college classes I'm in.
Absolutely. I felt the same
So there
way. Yeah,
there were just insanely bright kids at our school, and so I
absolutely.
wasn't in any AP classes. So like there were all these AP kids, and I'm like, oh, huh, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't never heard of that person. Good for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Congrats. Get that diploma.
I was an AP kid.
Oh, good on you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I was most certainly not.
I was a
But
very studious nerd. That was my high school life. So
Oh, who did you walk with into the graduation? Because we had, it was like you walked with a boy and I walked with a girl. So they do
that's
like
so
boy
funny.
girl.
I
It was
didn't
so
even remember
like
that.
old school
Yeah,
and traditional. Like
I
you
have
walk
no
in with
idea.
someone. Yeah, you don't
I,
even remember.
I don't
You'd
even
have to look at
remember
the
anymore.
pictures.
I'd have to
It was
look.
probably
Yeah,
someone you didn't know.
probably. Don't even remember. I do remember though that I was in a photo on the front cover of the newspaper because I was in the first row. I was like, "Oh, look at that, that's me." But I
Which
don't remember
newspaper?
anything. I have
Wilmette
no idea.
Beacon.
Something like that. Yeah, I don't even remember anymore.
I
But
interned with them in college.
interesting. Yeah, I genuinely don't even remember what newspaper, but my parents still have the newspaper. So,
So I walked in with Margot Wysocki. I'm not sure if you remember
oh, I
her.
remember her. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
she was a
awesome.
water polo player. She was very nice. I mean, I didn't know her extremely well. You know, it's such a huge school. There are a lot of people that you meet and you just kind of
Mm-hmm.
chat with or whatever. So I walked with her, and it turns out, and Margot, I don't know if you're listening to this. I have no idea where you are now. It's been a long time. But the funniest thing is one of my friends from Valpo. I went to Valpo. We went to college together. Turns out
Mm-hmm.
he's her cousin.
Oh my God, that's so
And he's from
funny.
Boston. It's so random.
That's
Like,
so random. Yeah.
yeah.
Like such a small world coincidence.
So he was
Yeah.
like, "Do you know my cousin Margot?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I walked into graduation with her."
That's crazy. Yeah. That's so random.
We had the
Yeah.
green team hoodies. Did you have a green team hoodie?
Mm-mm. Wasn't cool enough.
Oh.
I was too much
Anyone
of a
could have gotten
nerd.
them.
Yeah, I never got one. I would have loved one, but no, I never got one. But they
So
were cool looking.
we had these green team hoodies for the football games. It was a student
Mm-hmm.
section, and you
Mm-hmm.
could put whatever you wanted on the nameplate, and
Yeah.
then the number on the back was our graduation year. So it's a
Mm.
12. So that's a commonly. It's funny when I drive these kids now in the Ubers. They're like, they think that the green team hoodies are like a new thing. And I
Oh,
tell them I went to New.
interesting.
I'm like, oh, cool, I got a green team hoodie, and they're like, what the heck? Like they've been doing them that long? I'm
That's
like,
so
yeah, I'm old.
funny.
Like, and so they always ask what was on my green team hoodie. Mine said "Viva La Vida."
Oh, nice. I like
It was
that.
when that song was popular
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
That's how
yeah.
old we were. How old
Yeah.
we are
Oh
now.
my gosh, yeah. Great song though. Great song. Love it.
Um, Great song. Yeah, Coldplay slaps.
Mm-hmm.
Nikki, you also went to IU. I'm rocking the
Mm-hmm.
Hoosiers today.
Love
Number
it.
two team in the country right now. How about
I
that?
know. I can't believe it. I'm like not a big sports person, but I have heard that we are number two. So go Hoosiers. Proud of us.
How'd you enjoy Bloomington?
It was great. I mean, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. But it's a beautiful campus. I think what I realized towards the end of my time at IU was there was so much to do. I just needed to like take a minute to look for it. It wasn't just going to fall into my plate. Like Brown County in general, where IU is actually gorgeous. You would never expect middle of nowhere Indiana to have like beautiful nature and actually kind of like hilly landscapes. Um, so yeah, there was a lot of things to do other than just, party. It's a huge party school, which I didn't know. I was very naive. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think the whole party scene got a little old for me after a couple years, and but I finally, like towards the end of my time there, found all these other great things I could do, and then I graduated, and I was like, oh great, would have been nice
Oh,
to find all this,
yeah.
2 years
Ugh,
ago. So, but I loved
that's a
it.
bummer.
It
Yeah.
was a great school. I had a great time. I have so many great memories. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, well, Nikki, I love Bloomington. It's a great town. Big fan of Buffalo's. Not sure if you
Oh,
had some wings there. Yeah.
I miss Buffalo's. I just had what's the what's the big chain here? I don't go out enough.
Buffalo
Buffalo
Wild
Wild
Wings.
Wings. Yeah. It doesn't even compare. I forgot about Buffalo's. I was like, oh, this isn't that great. Buffalo's is unreal. Oh my gosh. I miss it.
Buffalo Joe's in Evanston, though. That's another great spot.
Ooh. Thank you. I'm gonna definitely put that on my list. Okay.
Highly recommend. Um, what was just the last thing I'd love to know is just it was really fun getting to hear your story and everything. How where do you go from here? Kind of like what's next for you, and would
Yeah.
you like to get a chance to do more shows?
Yeah, oh my gosh. I mean, it was so much fun. I would love to do another show. It's hard to figure out like which show would be right for me. I think that's the biggest question mark. I'm a huge fan of Survivor. I would love to do that, but at the same time, it is so intense. I don't know if I could do it. I genuinely don't know. I think I would really struggle, but God, I would love to try. But yeah, I would love to do another show. I'd love to try again. And, you know, it's the challenge for me of like really giving it my all and seeing if I can win. It's not about the airtime. I guess it's a little bit about the money. I mean, that's the motivator, right? But yeah, it was just so much fun. So yeah, if another opportunity presents itself and it feels like a good fit, then I'm there 100%.
Anything you learned about yourself through this experience?
Oh, that's another good question. You know, yes. Again, the first thing that comes to mind. I don't think I realized how much the things that I do in my day-to-day life are actually helping me out, and also how much those things helped me out when I was going through these challenges. I was like, "Oh yeah, I mean, like I guess I play ultimate frisbee, that's kind of cool." But for each challenge that I did, I could draw on something. I do glass art. That's one of my hobbies. I love art. And you have to have a very steady hand. You're holding a rod, and then you have another rod in your hand of glass. And like I guess I'm shaking a little right now, but like I have very steady hands, and I think that comes from a lot of art over the years and doing very intricate things. Um, so there were a lot of challenges that you needed a steady hand for, and I'd always thread my mom's eyes of her sewing needles growing up, and never in a million years that I think that would come in handy. I knew exactly what to do. So there were so many things that I could draw on from my own personal life experiences that I was like, no way is this actually helping me right now. Like even frisbee throwing and catching like helped in that potato challenge. So I felt like almost every single challenge, like I had something I could draw on, whether it was from sports, whether it was from selling homes, doing art, just the social aspect of things. Like I felt like um, I've done so many different things in my life and so many different random like experiences that I didn't realize how much it was actually going to help in the games. So that was
Well,
exciting.
Nikki, congratulations on getting
Thank
cast
you.
on this show, making it as far as you did. It was fun to watch and support you, and you made New Trier proud.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jack. It was so great, catching up with you today
Yeah.
and joining you on this podcast.
Do you want to throw out your social media handles or anything you want to plug or promote? People can check out your work or follow along.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my Instagram is at Nikki Kofkin. It's my first name, last name. That's probably where I'm most active. Feel free to shoot me a message, and I generally always reply unless I'm taking a break and delete it from my phone. But I'll reply when I'm back.
I just made this. I didn't do it long. There we go. Look at that.
Yay, that's me.
Give
Perfect.
Nikki a follow. Nikki, thank you so much for your time. This is great.
Yeah, this was awesome. Thanks, Jack. Thanks for having me.
All right, y'all. That concludes our conversation today with the Nikki Kofkin. That was a really fun podcast for me to record. As I mentioned, Nikki was someone that I knew in high school. I didn't know her extremely well, but she was always a very kind person, and we reconnected recently when she was on this show, and we've chatted a little bit over the past month or so. So it was really fun to watch her, support her, and to me, it's always cool when you share that connection with somebody when you went to high school, even if you weren't in the same class. But then if you were in the same class, that's even cooler. And then to get to watch them on TV and support them, that was very fun. So it was cool to catch up with her and chat a little bit, share a little bit about our area with you guys. I would love to know what you guys think of this episode. If you guys would like to hear more 99 to beat coverage, please comment and let me know, and maybe we'll do some more of these. I could have Nikki on, or I could bring on some other guests from the show. Go ahead and comment if you want more 99 to beat coverage. Hit that like button, and then subscribe to this channel, Jack Vita Show Entertainment. We also have a podcast feed on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever podcasts are found. You can follow me on social media at Jack Vita Show on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And until next time, I'm Jack Vita. Bring in the dancing lobsters.